Good day to everyone. It's Tuesday and it's Betting Weekly Live with Steve Wyss and Jack Wright. Jack, how was your weekend? Hope you're doing really well.
Yeah, really good, mate. Thank you. Yeah, very, very nice indeed. How was yours?
Very good and profitable for you, Jack. Big shout out to you. Clean sweep of your main picks on the EPL show. Hot dog came in. Hot dog was sizzling. Two unit plays were sizzling. Bournemouth, they helped you out of the weekend. So, I mean, there's a lot of handicappers on fire at the minute. Rory Giovanni and me yesterday were churning out the winners. We had winners in Argentina on the show. We're just flying.
You went global yesterday. You were Mr. Worldwide, and that was very impressive. Norway, Argentina, quick stop off at the US Open. Didn't matter where it was it? It was just wins galore.
Right, so on today's agenda, we are kind of scraping the barrel a little bit today.
Enough about me. Let's go on with the show.
We've got EFL Trophy to talk about in England, and we've got a best bet from you. Jack's best bet of the day is going to be in the English National League, so stay tuned for that. We thought there's been a lot of questions about the next Premier League manager to leave, and I know you wanted to discuss it on the Premier League show. So we've got a chance today. We've got time to do that. And so that's on the agenda. Nations League futures as well. And I've got some interesting data to tell you about the best and biggest tennis bets today on Bet Rivers, along with some notable other wagers. So do stay tuned. Welcome in if you're joining live. Do say hello or ask any questions that you want to. We're going to start in the EFL Trophy. Now, this is a trophy that a lot of people might not have heard about, but it's kind of crazy to say that it's probably the biggest betting heat of the day in terms of the matches for soccer. England EFL Trophy. Who actually enters this? Because we've got under 21 teams from the Premier League clubs. So we've got senior teams in like League One and League Two against the under 21 Premier League clubs. Jack, brief description about who's in this.
Yeah, so it used to be just a trophy, didn't it? I think it used to call like the Papa John's trophies. Other pizzas are available, and now it's some Bristol Motors, I think. So we might be sponsoring it next season, but it's certainly like probably the third ranked trophy in England. So yeah, it's the third and fourth tiers, and also a few, as we can see from the slide there, some of the development squads for the Premier League sides that enter it as well. So this one is certainly one for team news come an hour or so before kickoff, where you'll find out who's kind of mixing things up a little bit and who's taking it a little bit more seriously.
Yes, it certainly is. And I put 4 matches up there, which we're going to have a little talk about. Incredibly, it's one of the rare days I can't give a best bet out today. It's even beyond me globally, but I do have probably I am having a smaller nibble on Barrow on I'm going to actually take them draw no bet here because it's at plus 175 against Bolton. Barrow are a team I've been following recently in League Two. They've been going well. They've got some good numbers. I had a good winner on them at the weekend actually against Harrogate Town. They knocked out Derby County in the recent EFL Cup. They now got Chelsea. There's a really good feeling around the club right now at Barrow. For those who don't know where it is, it's in the northwest of the UK, a million miles from most locations. As it happens, Bolton, it's not one of their longest trips, actually, but it is one of those places no one really wants to visit, right by the coast, although it'll be quite a nice evening there tonight, I think. I don't know what 11 Barrow are going to field. I don't know how serious they are thinking about this competition, but I think they'll be more up for it than Bolton, if I'm being honest with you. And I just love the momentum that Barrow have got at the minute. We'll take that draw no bet. If it does, I think does it go penalties, doesn't it? If it ends a draw in 90 minutes, they go penalties and they get extra points for that. But look, plus 175, a small nibble, Barrow for me. That would be, well, and I'm not even calling it a best bet of the day, just a nibble of the day, if we're going to have that. So that would be my take on the Barrow game. Strongest lean of the day. What about these other fixtures, Jack? Any sort of leans for you in the EFL Cup? EFL Trophy?
I've kind of put Carlisle Forest up there. We talked about the sides that are development sides, and that's obviously Forest here. They've got off to a cracking start in their league, actually. They won all 3 of their games, so confidence is high. They scored 7, conceded none, and up against the Carlisle side that are faded from the end of last season. They were atrocious in League One. They got relegated. And sometimes you get that anti-momentum, if you want to call it that, where sides just can't seem to get out of that funk. And that's what's happened with Carlisle this season. They've won 1 and lost 4 across all competitions. They're down in the bottom reaches of the League Two. They've sacked their long-standing manager, Paul Simpson, who's a bit of a club legend there. He's been there 2 or 3 times and gotten promoted, I think, 3 or 4 occasions. And it's just not worked out for them. American owners have come into the club who've invested a fair amount of money for the level, and it's just not working out for them at the moment. And sometimes it just continues that way. And they've got a big game coming up at the weekend. They're at home to Bradford. Of course, they've got an interim manager at the moment. They need to arrest a slide that's taken them to the non-league football at this moment in time. So I think as it stands, this is a game they could really do without. It's an interim manager in place. I'd imagine there'll be a real mixture of players that are playing in against a young Forest side that have obviously got a lot of confidence. So if, again, a big price, I think this is worth a few bits of loose change. Plus 320. I quite like the look of Forest youngsters causing an upset there at Carlisle and piling more misery on the Cumbrians.
Nottingham Forest under 21s, and I've just noticed a mistake on the actual. It's not Strasbourg and not in action tonight. I don't know whether that we might have got mixed up with Chelsea under 21s actually. That's my mistake on the graphics there. But it is Nottingham Forest under 21s plus 320 against Carlisle away from home. A local derby there, a Yorkshire derby in my region. Doncaster Rovers against Huddersfield Town. I mean, both of these teams have been, championship sides in the last decade, I think.
Yeah, Huddersfield were Premier League, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, this is not a competition either want to be in, really, is it? I mean, is this the sort of match which could be a complete damp? I was thinking under 2.5 goals here at plus money. Plus 125. I just don't think either side's going to be that bothered about this. It could be a slow tempo. No one wants to get injured, get stuck in. I mean, you never know. It could go the other way, couldn't it? But I just don't think this is going to be much of a game.
No, I agree. And you couldn't get more of a pick'em game than that. They're both exactly the same odds to win it. And I say you don't really know what you're going to get from it because both have got other objectives. Doncaster stormed through the back end of last season and got into the playoffs and then looked like they were going to cruise into the final, then capitulated against Crewe and bombed out. They started pretty strong this season. I've actually backed them to go up this season, so I'd like them to not take this one too seriously. Again, another side with a big game at the weekend. And Huddersfield are in the same boat. They've dropped down into League One now after relegation from the Championship. So they're looking to bounce straight back. And they've started pretty strong as well. And I think they're a side that can certainly compete throughout the course of the season. So I'm with you. I think it's one that, they could probably do without. So therefore, is it going to be a little bit of a damp squib, as you say, and possibly just peter out? The only thing going is obviously they're going to have to go to penalties at the end of it if it goes to it. But I think they want to avoid injury and move on.
We'll talk about Birmingham City in a minute because I think they're going to be one of the most popular bets of the day for people just looking through the card. But just first of all, I mean, this trophy, EFL Trophy, team news is crucial, isn't it? It's like EFL Cup. Like you've almost got to wait until the lineups are revealed, unless you've got a bit of inside info or there's been a confirmed lineup from the managers or something. It really isn't the sort of competition at this stage of it to get heavily invested in. Would you agree?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's a team dependent. You can see sometimes where there's a complete and utter surprise as far as the 11 is concerned. They've completely mixed it up. And like I'm kind of banking on a little bit with that bet on Nottingham Forest under 21s is that they're going up against a side that just wants to get on. Like it's a big night for the under 21s. They're going to go there and look to try and catch the eye of a few scouts, possibly catch the eye of their senior manager or the guy, whoever analysts he sent there, and look to try and break into the first team. So for Carlisle, I say it's one that they want to avoid, and that's through a lot of the games. So certainly, check on team news, make a bit of a shortlist, possibly have a little look on Twitter. You'll get an idea as to what might be happening, even at this kind of competition. Follow the team pages and see where it goes. But team news is crucial.
Welcome in, Henry VIII. Great to see you again. Rick Haley as well. It's a real loyal band of followers here that are coming in each day. We really thank you all for your great support. We're so close to 5,000 subscribers now on YouTube. So if you are lurking, watching, you've not hit that button yet, it would be a great favour for us if you could do that. We're going to get maybe a special prize for the 5,000th subscriber. I don't know how you could even work that out, Jack, to be fair.
Who knows?
But,
well, I don't know. I'm sure we'll find a way. Yeah, loyalty is not something you normally associate with Henry VIII, but he's certainly been sticking with us for a while. Thank you, Henry.
Good. Good on that. Good one. Birmingham City then against Walsall. Birmingham City have splashed the cash in the summer window. They're the huge favourites to go up to the Championship. Is this a chance for them to just, notch up an easy trophy? Or are they really not going to be bothered? Against Walsall this evening, this is actually a local derby, for those who don't know. It's a Midlands Black Country derby. I mean, Birmingham on the money line, -400 just on the money line to win. You're looking at handicaps here, -1.5 handicaps, -1.75 handicaps. I don't know. That just doesn't ring right to me. But we might look at the end of the game, and this is a big beating, 5 or 6-0, and we think, why were we not on? What sort of mentality do you think Birmingham City are going to have here?
I think you might be right. I think they might identify this out. It's a day at Wembley, so it's not to be sniffed at. I think once it's one of them sort of competitions that once you get further into it, it suddenly becomes a little bit more important because the players are going, actually, day out at Wembley, going up the steps. You've seen the same comment I've just seen. And I think for Birmingham, with the squad that they've got now, they're like the Chelsea of League One, aren't they? They've got so many players. They've got to try and keep happy. This makes absolute perfect sense. You laughing at me?
I'm laughing at the comment that's just come up, which we're going to get on screen.
I thought so. I think Birmingham have got an opportunity here, and they've got so much of a big squad that they can do it. But at that price, and even at the handicap, you won't want to take it. Look, they might go and win this 3, 4, 5, as you say. But what they have generally done over the course of the start of the season is conceded goals. And so if you did want to have a bet on Birmingham, I wouldn't put you off going with both teams to score yes in it as well. And you're getting +170. So a Birmingham 2-1, 3-2, which I've done a couple of times this season already, suddenly becomes a plus money play. You just need, effectively, if you think Birmingham are going to cruise it, you just need a Walsall goal. And they're not a bad side. So I was quite on them strong at the weekend, and they won. They're decent. But that would be the way in if you want to try and get Birmingham on side.
I think Birmingham are going to be up for this. I know a few Birmingham fans, and they've been the picture of misery for a few years, really. They're some of the most depressing fan base, actually. And I get why, because it's been a struggle. Now they're full of life. They're enjoying their football. I think it's a great chance to keep the winning feeling going. So, I wouldn't be surprised if they put up a number here tonight. And Walsall are going to have a go as well. I'd be looking probably at the overs goals, if anything. But, again, EFL Trophy. Who knows? A day out with Sean Calvert, all expenses. For the 5,000 subscriber, that would be quite something, wouldn't it? That really would be quite something. To see how that goes. Sean paying. Take him to the cleaners.
Think where he's going to take you.
Right, your best bet of the day, Jack. We've been waiting.
Yes.
I mean, this wasn't even going to be on the agenda or the menu. But for special occasions. I mean, I was in Argentina yesterday, so you are going down to the National League North in England. Now, what tier is this, Jack? It's about tier 5, isn't it? I think.
Tier 6.
Tier 6 of England.
Yeah.
Although, still quite a well-supported league in places. This is Southport against Farsley Celtic. Farsley Celtic are actually a team based near Leeds, not too far from me. So Southport near on the west coast of England near Liverpool, and Southport the favourites -103, Farsley Celtic +245. But it's the goals market that you're interested in here, Jack. Over or under 2.5 goals? Which way are you going?
I'm going over. So I thought I'd put this one in as a little bit of an insight as to what I look for when you've got games that you're not overly familiar with. Premier League, Ligue 1, those kind of big tournaments, you know what's going on. So with this one, I've kind of get a short list of what I'm looking for over the course of the day, and then I see if there's any gems in there, any hidden gems that you might be able to find. I think I found one in this one. Over 2.5 goals at -117 is the play. So what I generally do here is I look over the last 10 games. Now, there's only been 6 games across this league campaign so far, so it will include a few games from the back end of last season, and then I drill down into the detail of this season as well. So what I've found is that with over 2.5 goals here, 8 of the last 10 home games for Southport have cashed this ticket. So I separate them as well. So only looking at Southport home games in this case, and only looking at the away teams' away games, because obviously teams change their philosophies when they're home and away. So 8 of the last 10 have cashed for Southport, including all of the 3 home games so far this season. 9 of the last 10 Farsley away games have cashed, including all 6. Now, they've played 6 away games because they're having their pitch dug up and relayed. I think they're going with an artificial surface on their home ground. So that's meant that their first 4 home games have been switched, so they're playing away. So they've played 6 away so far. All 6 have cashed this season on over 2.5 goals. And what I like when I'm backing an overs bet is for both teams to come to the party. So I want a home team that can score at home, and they also concede, and an away team to score away and also concede. Southport have scored in 8 of the last 10 home games. They've also conceded in 8 of the last 10 home games. Both teams have scored cashed in 7 of the last 10. And Farsley, they've scored in 9 of the last 10 away games and conceded in 9 of the last 10 away games. And both teams have cashed in 8 of the last 10 away games. Over 2.5 goals, 8 of the last 10 for Southport at home, 9 of the last 10 for Farsley at home. I think this is a big price considering all those pieces of data and that it's landed in 9 of 9 respective so far this season, with some big scores in there as well. I wouldn't even put off a little bit of interest in maybe over 3.5 in this one. I think this is why it's my best bet of the day. It's very, very confident selection, albeit in a lower tier, which sometimes get overlooked by the traders because they're not quite sure what is going on.
This reminds me of the bet I had in Norway yesterday in the Obos, which comfortably went over. It just looked a stupid price. Like the line should have been more, way higher than over 2.5. Southport against Farsley Celtic. That is Jack Wright's best bet of the day today. England, National League North. So we're going to move on to an interesting market now. The next Premier League managers to leave their post. And you talked about this on the Premier League show at the weekend. We've got an opportunity now to sort of delve into it because it's a big topic at the minute about this. There's 2 or 3 managers under serious pressure in the Premier League at the moment. And Erik ten Hag's a favourite next manager to leave, plus 250. Sean Dyche at plus 300. Enzo Maresca plus 650. Steve Cooper plus 800. Russell Martin is a 9-1 shot. And then the rest of them are 14-1 bar. I've got some thoughts on this. Jack, I must say, let's just start with Erik ten Hag because Manchester United right now under Ten Hag, are they really going to be sacking him imminently? Or if, in your opinion, it happens, is it more likely to be around Christmas or into the new year?
Yeah, I can't see it happening now. They've obviously got him to sign a new contract in the summer. They were looking for a replacement, couldn't find one. We've had big debate on with our elite experts across the football world in the UK as far as what was going on there. Liverpool were in the same boat. They were obviously looking for Alonso and end up with a second or third choice. Not started off too badly for him. Of course, Bayern Munich went to about their 7th or 8th choice, didn't they, to get Vincent Kompany, and when they were looking to replace Tuchel. So they had a look, couldn't find anyone. The talk is that they're looking for Southgate. I'm sure Southgate will want a bit of extra time off after that England duty that he had. So I can't see them pulling the trigger at this moment in time. They've now spent 200 million quid again in the transfer window. That's obviously putting Ten Hag players in place. So to get rid of him so quickly would be an absolute shambles. And they've got the reputation of not knowing what they're doing. So Ineos have come in, of course, and they want to try and show that they do know what they're doing. They have got a process that they're going to follow. So they're not going to be knee-jerk. So to now suddenly change it, I don't think there's any way they'll get rid of him until, as you say, possibly Christmas. If they're still in that 8th, 10th position, then with another window coming up, then possibly that might be the time. But we should probably see someone else go before then.
I think there's a chance that he could get sacked on the 7th of October. And I'll tell you why, because that is the first Monday in the next international break. And the key when you're looking at which managers might go next, for me, is fixtures. Fixtures are king. If you've got an easier set of fixtures, you're more likely to pick up points and et cetera, et cetera. He has got 3 huge games just before the next international break. He's got Tottenham at home, Porto away in the Europa League, and that's quite a tough game. A lot of people will be shocked to see Porto in the Europa League. Nearly knocked Arsenal out of the Champions League last year. And then Aston Villa away on the 6th of October. If things go wrong in those 3 games, and Villa are the sort of team, Unai Emery's the sort of manager who can sack managers. with a serious performance against them. I think he could be at risk. But before then, there's a lot more winnable games for Manchester United, like Southampton, Palace. They've got another Europa League game against Twente, which should be a win. So I think he's absolutely safe until the next international window. Whether or not, now Sean Dyche, I've got a funny story to tell you about Sean Dyche. He's next in the betting at plus 300, and our senior golf handicapper, Simon Holden, we all know he's a big Everton fan. He watches every minute of Everton. I don't know why he puts that upon himself, but he does. He's so loyal. And I was actually playing cricket on Saturday. I was umpiring, and there's part of the time of umpiring, I can't really have my phone on or anything. I've got to focus, and then the other half of it, I can just browse a bit. Anyway, so I was following the scores. I saw Everton were 2-0 up, and then 5-6 minutes later, I could have a look at my phone, and there's a message from Simon, and I thought, he's kind of bragging here that they've got a good win on the board or something like that. And I was shocked to see that he was like, "Right, this is it. Dyche is out. He's got to go. The final straw. I've had enough here." I'm like, "What's happened?" And they can see 3 goals in the last 2 minutes. So I was shocked by that. Our senior golf handicapper Simon Holm will be making his live show debut, by the way, next Thursday. I can exclusively reveal that. So we look forward to seeing him on the show. But I looked at Everton's fixtures, Jack, and I know Simon wants him gone, and I know quite a few Everton fans want him gone. But number one, I don't think they can afford to sack him. And number two, Everton have got some really nice-looking fixtures in the next few weeks. They've got the likes of Leicester, Ipswich. They've got home match against Palace, home match against Fulham. I think, and they've actually, the teams they've lost against are not bad sides, by the way. I don't think Dyche goes for a while. Yeah. I don't know what you think about that.
No, I feel that they're in this situation where they're going to be moving grounds, aren't they, next season? It's a club in a little bit of chaos. It has been for a couple of seasons. You would suggest that Dyche is a safe pair of hands, the old cliche. Who are they going to get in that would want to take that job on at this moment in time? I would be surprised if they can get an improvement on him. The results aren't great at the moment, and it can only go on for so long. But we also know that he can find a few good results out of nowhere. They can string 4 or 5 decent performances, or certainly decent results together, and it will get them more than out of that bottom 3 and be up into the halfway point of the table. And Everton fans will be talking about possibly going into Europe again. But no, I don't think that they would. I don't think they're in a position to change it right now. And again, I don't think with the Premier League at the moment, the bottom 3, 4, 5 sides are normally not so bad that you haven't got that big makeup, the big bridge to gap. It's normally well within reach. Russell Martin from Duncan is a good shout.
I like this. I like that shout. I think that, we know Southampton, the last time they were in the Premier League, they got through about 5 managers, didn't they? Or maybe not quite as many as that, but enough. So they will pull the trigger, and their fixtures are not easy. I quite agree with what you guys said on the Premier League show. I think Gary O'Neill at Wolves, I've looked at their fixtures, and they're quite alarmingly tough, They've
got the hardest, on my ratings, they've got the hardest next 5 fixtures that are out there. And that was certainly Nigel. Yeah, Nigel ruffled, I was going to say some feathers, but it's ruffling the fur, isn't it, of the Wolves fans.
I just think the fixtures, I don't see Wolves getting many points in the next 5-6 games. No matter who was in charge of them, to be fair. Tough run. Yeah. Who do you think could be the value? You've got an interesting candidate here.
I have, yeah. Look, I've done some digging. We're going to talk about this, so I've done some digging into the general stats of it over the course of the Premier League era. And the average games before the first manager sacked is 10.8. When you look at the last few managers going, it's not a comfortable place to be for the promoted sides. So Russell Martin comes into this. Oh, there we go. Foxy Fee, reading my mind. Look at that. So promoted managers have gone first in 5 of the last 6 seasons, and all of the last 4. It was Heckingbottom last season. He hung on for 14 games, which is probably the biggest surprise of it, how terrible they were. Scott Parker went after 4 games the season before that because he started to out their owners, didn't he? Watford, not surprised. Xisco Munoz went after 7 the season before that, and Slaven Bilic at West Brom before that. So, yeah, if you're looking at a promoted manager, I'd probably go with Russell Martin because I think that there's no way in the world. Bomb-proof is McKenna at Ipswich. I think Steve Cooper's in the same boat that you go, well, who are you going to replace him with? He's new into the job, and they know that there's that massive points deduction coming, and pretty much certain relegation on the horizon. So who'd want that on their CV? My pick, though, as now on the screen, is actually Nuno at Nottingham Forest. I think that is good value at plus 1,600, 16 to 1. What you've got there is they've made a fairly decent start. So they've been up in the top, half. They're 9th at the moment. I think the only way for them is down. They've also got some really tough fixtures coming up. They've got an owner who's not afraid to pull the trigger. And I think that they're the ones that actually look possibly vulnerable. You look at their games coming up. They've got Liverpool away, Brighton away. So you'd be surprised if they get anything from those two games. Fulham, who I think are undervalued at this moment in time. I think you look at them and that's a tough game. Fulham can go and certainly
Fixtures
get something there. Then
fixtures are absolutely king here. You've got to look at what the teams are playing.
Yeah.
Chelsea so away. For you.
Yeah.
Nuno for you.
Chelsea away. Then Palace at home, who are tough. But Leicester is the game after that. So 6 games time. And Steve Cooper's got the opportunity to get one over on his old club where he was sacked last season. And I think that one, for me, you're predicting your date. That's the date I'm predicting there. The 9th round of fixtures. Leicester at home to Forest. Leicester win. Nuno goes. Clip it up. Save it. We can use that in a few weeks' time.
You're saying 16 to 1 on Nuno. I agree with Duncan. I think Russell Martin. I just think they look awful. They look nothing at the minute. And Southampton might just think we might as well change the manager here because we're going nowhere. So I could see Steve, that personally.
Do you know the club that's pulled the trigger most in the Premier League era?
I had not a clue. Leeds, probably. I don't know. Go on.
Tottenham.
I nearly thought about them as well.
Oh, yeah.
Don't think that's going to happen.
1994, 2003, 2007, and 2008. And then behind them, Chelsea, Sunderland, and Newcastle have done it 3 times. Eddie Howe, plus 1,400.
Before we go, I know you've got an outright pick in the Nations League. We're going to talk about this on upcoming live shows, probably Thursday, Friday, certainly me and James Eastham. Nice. UEFA Nations League. Who's your outright, Jack? Be quick here because we've got to get through a few things. But
I
know there's one nation that you really like in this.
Yeah, it's Spain. It's not. I'm not really sticking my neck on the block there. Nations League. I've done a bit of work on the Nations League over the last couple of days. There's a different format this year, so the top 2 from each of the Group A's goes through into we need some more internationals in March, so it's going to be the quarterfinals, home and away in March. And then that goes through to the end of season semi-finals. So they've got Serbia, Switzerland, and Denmark in their group. I can't see them having any danger of not topping the group there, or certainly going to get top 2. So at me, plus 500. I think there's doubts about the other main contenders. So I just thought they looked like a standout at a decent price to go on and win it.
Yeah, you can't ever moan against betting on Spain. They just look amazing as a nation right now, and they're always going to try and win anything they can. Say more on international soccer and Nations League and things like that coming up later in the week, Thursday, Friday, I think. Certainly Friday would be the main day for that if you're interested in my live show with me and James Eastham. A couple of plugs. I want to give a plug to the dojo, the Betting Weekly dojo with Nigel and Neil Channing. Always a great watch. That came out yesterday. I think there's a new Game Bet Match episode coming out possibly this evening on YouTube. Don't quote me on that. I think there is. In terms of the tennis today, tomorrow we've got Nigel's back. Nigel's back on the show, so we're going to have a full episode about tennis at latest at Flushing Meadows. Me and him are going to be discussing that. The biggest 5 bets on the tennis today at Bet Rivers at Flushing Meadows. We've got Francis Tiafoe on the money line, $6,000 on him against Grigor Dimitrov, nearly 5,000 on Paula Badosa to beat Emma Navarro, minus 121. Zverev as well, 3,500 on him. Paula Badosa is actually a really popular bet. 2 other significant bets on her to beat Emma Navarro. It seems like she's the one to be on there. Other big notable wagers on Tuesday, it's in the baseball, the Mets on the money line. Very popular, over 10,000 on them staked at least. The Orioles, the Baltimore Orioles, minus 1.5 at the White Sox is a significant bet on them as well. And yesterday, it was a good one for the books. $66,000 loser, unfortunately, on the Jasmine Paolini over 19.5 games live. Big loser there for one particular bettor, sadly. And also another loser live was Florida State, minus 9.5. 40,000 loser there at minus 332. A bit of a big shock. Florida State seemed to have let a lot of people down yesterday. 30,000 loser pre-game, minus 16.5 against Boston College. So I know, always interesting, some of these big wagers.
Nice to see Shakespeare's come in with his baseball pick as well.
Cleveland Indians against Kansas City Royals over 8 runs. Thanks very much, Shakespeare. Brian Lawler, just seen that comment. Welcome in from Ireland. Good to see you there. And Luke Brayshaw, yes, being an umpire isn't playing cricket, but we don't have neutral umpires at the level I play at, so we have to fill in.
I'm sure I've had you umpiring me at square leg before, Steve, watching your phone instead of having my.
I sometimes record the match. I sometimes record the footage with my excuse.
Phone. Yeah,
but anyway, that's today's done. Your best bet of the day. Remind everyone.
Of course, I've got to remind myself what it is. Yeah, it is of course Southport over 2.5 goals in their game at home to Farsley. I'm not sure they're called Farsley Celtic anymore, but anyway, it's Farsley. And over 2.5 at minus 117. That is the bet of the day.
The bet of the day from Betting Weekly Live. Thanks everyone who joined in live with the comments. As I say, do hit that like button, do hit that subscribe button if you're not already. It just really helps the channel out so much. And back tomorrow with Nigel Seeley, big US Open edition on Betting Weekly Live. And then on Thursday, we've got Rory Giovanni back with Dan Roebuck. So plenty of tennis on Betting Weekly Live coming up very soon. But from this today, thank you very much. Stay safe. Take care. Remember to gamble responsibly. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.